back with more Barnstable This Morning on this Monday morning. I'm Sarah Colvin, and joining me live in studio, Town Manager Tom Lynch. Tom, good morning.
How you doing, Sarah?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
Good.
So a good weekend. We just showed a picture of the students launching their boat, and I understand you went down there to see that. That must have been a great afternoon.
You know, it was a lot of fun because the kids were very, very excited. And this was a combination of the recreation program, as we know, and Renee King was there from the Recreation Commission. Deb Dagwan was there to support the youngsters. There was it was funded by the JFK Memorial Trust Fund, and of course there were the volunteers from the Cape Cod Maritime Museum that put the whole building of this Bevan skiff together. At one point in time, Lynn Poyant went up and said to them, "Now, do you really feel proud of yourselves?" And they were just beaming, you know. And one young man, prior to the launching, made a nice thank you to all the staff and everyone who had helped them and how much they had learned and that they had worked as a team, and it was very good. But I thought a couple of things stood out to me. One, they asked how many knew how to row a boat, and only one raised her hand.
Really?
And so they had two other boats there. They could take the youngsters out and practice rowing the boat and do a little seamanship and learning that way. So that was interesting. And one student had never been in a boat.
Really?
So she, you know, got in and with a little coaxing, but participated in that. So it was really a nice, and you saw the picture how good everyone, you know, excited everyone looked at this project. I hope they'll do more of them because they learn a lot of skills, teamwork, things like that along the way. But it struck me that this was mainly a volunteer program, and last week we also celebrated volunteerism over at the senior center. They had their annual luncheon, and you know, we had people who were crafters, who drove vans, who did Meals on Wheels, who really kept the place running on a lot of different levels, and it was a nice festive occasion. It always is. People really have a good feeling about it. And then on Friday there was another volunteer event where the Centerville Beautification Committee put a tree out at the Cobb Astro Park, the Memorial Park, right adjacent to that the high school, you know, has. So you look at all these examples of ways that volunteers help Barnstable be, you know, a better community. So it was really, we congratulate them all. We certainly couldn't do it without them.
Indeed,
so.
and so many opportunities for people if they want to get involved to do so on anything from building boats all the way up to serving on a board committee or commission.
Well, you've said many times we have 43 boards and commissions, and you report on a lot of them here on Barnstable This Morning and certainly on Barnstable Today. So we, you know, we couldn't do it without them.
Absolutely. So, of course, big budget time, capital improvement plan. Town Council still working its way through that.
Well, we started on the capital improvement plan at the last Town Council meeting, and on May 6th, with the next Town Council meeting, we'll continue. The start of the meeting, the Comprehensive Financial Advisory Committee, Bob Ciolik, who was the subcommittee chair to review the capital improvement plan, made a report. He talked about a couple of things. He was pleased that we had been flexible enough to just allow them to review the projects that our selection committee had gone through. So that saved them a lot of time and gave them a chance to go into greater depth on the projects that were selected. So that they were very complimentary toward our process this year for that. They also liked something we talked at one of our earlier meetings when we were discussing the capital improvement plan, and that was foreshadowing projects that might be out there that aren't even included in this plan. So while we rejected 76% of the projects that were put forward, there were also other projects that aren't even on the list yet that we know citizen groups and we know are looming out there. So, and that may come up in the course of the year. E-permitting is a good example of that. We did that in the course of last year. So they now know that some of these things are on our radar screen, and they may bump some of the other items that are there. But we got through 16 items on at the first meeting. We have about 20. We have about 26, I think, to go there. But we have. There are really three capital plans in one. There's the the enterprise funds, as we've talked about, that are supported by fees and other revenues, not taxpayer revenues.
Right.
They have their track where they've got their own reserves, and we're funding projects out of money that they have set aside. Then, of course, you have the capital trust fund, the general fund projects, and they are all funded through the capital trust fund, and those are taxpayer funded items. And I put schools as kind of a third one because that plan is developed through the school committee in conjunction with us. We sit in our regular meetings with Dr. Mary and Bill Butler and others to look at the projects that they have. But they will present their own plan when they do it. So that's also general fund money. So when I look at it, I think of the enterprise funds, I think of the general funds, and then I also think of the schools that will be out there. Now, we'll start at the next meeting with private roads. That'll be the first thing we'll be looking at. There are 4 private roads that we're putting forward to be funded with capital improvement plans, and they'll meet the criteria that was passed with the legislation, where it's a connector road. Then we'll move into things like, I say that somewhat up. Yes, and DPW will be doing that. And then we'll move into some of the golf items, which are repairs to both the fairgrounds clubhouse and the Hyannis Golf Clubhouse. We've got some dredging items and dockage repairs both along doing assessment over here in Hyannis, but we're doing some construction work over in Prince Cove. So we'll be looking at that. There's some water quality issues that are out there that we'll be funding. One is rather expensive alum treatment of Hamlin Pond. The last time the pond was treated for algae was 20 years ago.
Wow.
So the treatment lasts a long time, but in 2014 there were significant closures over at Hamlin. Hamlin, of course, is adjacent to the Burgess property and that area. And the water quality's been great up until the past year, 2 years, and now if we put this treatment in again, it'll last for another 20 years. So, and then we'll continue the hydrilla treatments in several of our ponds. So from there, we'll then try to start moving into some of our school projects and airport projects. And if we get through all of that, there are quite a few projects, over $8 million of projects in the schools.
Wow.
And a lot with the airport. So the council president is very hopeful. She thought we moved through the first 16 very smoothly. There are quite a few questions. We anticipate that. We want the questions so that people fully understand what we're presenting, as well as so the councils are fully cognizant of what they're voting on. So it's been a very cooperative process thus far. We hope to move along and if not finish it at the next meeting, then early on in the one after that.
Great, and of course the capital budget is just the first part of the budget process, still working on those finishing touches for the operating budget. And how are we in terms of progress on that?
I hope this week we'll finish up a lot on the operating budget. I've been working on my budget message, which tries to consolidate all of the changes that we've put into effect, give a picture to anyone reading the budget as to what direction we're going on. We're going to try to be meeting the needs of our citizens in a lot of different ways, and I'll try to point those out. There will be some new items in the capital, rather in the operating budget. We're always able to enhance some of our programs. A lot of things we'll just be looking to maintain existing services, but I'll be outlining those, and our finance director Mark Milne and the budget team will be working the rest of this week with several meetings to wrap that up.
Great. Well, Tom, thank you so much as always for coming by and giving us the update. We appreciate it, and we will talk with you again next Monday morning. Have a great week.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thanks so much. Tom Lynch, of course, Town Manager. Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Mary Chakowski is next, but first we'll send you out to that beautiful morning view in Kituitt. We'll be back with more Barnstable This Morning.